Alright, guys, yeah, it's another, fight I kind of thought of while watching Star Wars The Clone Wars, and yeah, as you can see, yep, it is Dooku versus Lord Dominator. I've already had Dominator fight Master Cyclonus, and you're probably wondering, well, why not someone a little more higher up, like, I don't know, Sidious or something? Yeah, I thought about it, but I was thinking, Dooku would be this would be an interesting fight on its own. Dooku versus Dominator. Yeah. So, let's talk about both combatants, and then, you guys can decide for yourself who do you think would win. Now, let's talk a bit about Dooku. Dooku was a former Jedi, former Padawan, in fact, of Master Yoda, until he eventually went to he eventually left the Jedi Order and found his way to Palpatine, who revealed himself to be Sidious and made him his new apprentice after the death of Darth Maul. And, well, the quote-unquote death of Darth Maul, I should say. Dooku was a Master Jedi, and when he getting tongue-tied here, he basically, after he started learning the ways of the Sith, he became a very powerful Sith Lord, though still he was the apprentice to Sidious. Under the title of Darth Tyrannus, he started to learn more and more about the Sith culture, and became, thanks to his, he was already close to being a Jedi Master, Dooku eventually became, he learned all of his skills rather quickly, and became a very powerful Sith Lord, though still not as strong as Sidious. Now, as a Sith Lord, of course, he managed to learn the ways of the dark side of the Force, even channeling Force Lightning and several other Force skills, but also Dooku was a master lightsaber. He was a master of the lightsaber. He specialized in the form known as Makashi. Makashi is a lightsaber style that deals in one-on-one combat. It's very, saber-centric combat where you fight. This is why Dooku was so well at dueling one or more opponents. You focus. It's kind of like space fencing. That's the best way I could describe Dooku's style with Makashi, is that it's very much like fencing, in the sense that you focus on nothing but your opponent's blade, and you mix in some force. It's not as good, it's not in the same vein as Niemann, which is a more force-centric power, but in here, you're more about doing precise strikes and leaving these quick and devastating hits. So that's kind of what Makashi's all about, and Dooku excelled at it. So, that's a bit about Dooku, is that, of course, a master of the Force, and his main thing was that he could channel a ton of Force lightning. However, the one thing that kind of went against him, even in his death, was that he was getting on in years. Had Dooku left the Jedi Order and found Sidious sooner, he might have become a very powerful ally. However, Dooku was getting on in years, and he became very elderly. However, despite his age, you got to understand that despite his age, he was actually pretty nimble in some cases. He was very nimble. He is also, of course, even though his body aged, his mind didn't. He was still a very intelligent opponent. He was still he was incredibly tactful. He knew how to fight to combat his opponents in a head-on match. So that's just a bit about. That's a bit about Dooku, is that even when even if you think you got him cornered, yeah, he's, you might be playing his game. So his opponent Dominator. Dominator, as we all know, powerful character from Wander Over Yonder. She can more or less form her arms into any, her body can form any kind of lava or ice-based shape that she can think of. Axes, knives, darts, anything, you name it, she can form it. And hell, she's even got that giant body armor where, she's nearly indestructible. She's also, despite looking like a happy-go-lucky girl, she's actually pretty intelligent. She's pretty intelligent, but she lets that arrogance get in front of her. She gets that arrogance that sometimes leads to her downfall. However, her downfall has yet to happen. So that's kind of the thing, is that she's incredibly powerful, but she's also arrogant, and sometimes she relies too much on brute force. However, said brute force can, one punch and she can send a whole shockwave around a bunch of people and send them literally flying all over the place. But sometimes she sacrifices that, that head-on fight the head-on kind of tactic of go in, smash, that can be a tactical error, especially if you're fighting someone like Dooku who gourds his opponents into making those kind of rash decisions. Dooku's going to realize very quickly that he can't take on Dominator in a head-on fight. He can't fight her on her game. He's going to have to make her go on. He's going to have to play on the defensive and go by make her play by his rules. So even if it's his field, it's going to be his rules until he can find a way to strike. However, Dominator seems to have a high level of strength and stamina. It looks like she can keep going for a while. However, Dooku is still human. Dooku is still human and a very elderly human. Though granted, the Force can give him the strength and stamina he needs, but you have to understand, he's still old. He's still very elderly. He, like I said before, one of the major problems was that, he was getting on in years, and that eventually the Force couldn't keep up with keeping him, as agile as he once was, and that eventually led to his death at the hands of Anakin. So that's the big thing here is with Dooku is that he's still human. You gotta understand he's a very elderly human. However, that doesn't mean, he can use his intelligence on, tongue-tied. He can outthink Dominator. That's the thing, is that Dominator, while she is intelligent, she relies a bit too much on her brute force to, fight her opponents. Dooku, thanks to his years and years of training, it's given him kind of an edge. Just not, while he does have a lot of power behind him, he doesn't need to use it all at once like Dominator seems to want to. So Dooku is going to be playing the field, and, that lightsaber could probably cut through anything Dominator has, against him. So that's going to be the thing, is that he's going to have to, he can't fight Dominator head on. He's going to have to make her play his game, and, yeah, I'm pretty sure that lightsaber could cut through anything she could throw at him, but if Dominator gets a hold of him, she ain't going to let go. Yeah. So this is going to be a very bloody battle. I don't really know who would win, even though, like I said, Dooku's a Sith apprentice. Don't count him out. Or, don't judge him by just his age, So I thought this fight would be interesting. I thought I'd throw it your way and let you guys see who would win. If you think Dominator would win, just put #Dominator wins. Or if you think Dooku wins, put #Dooku wins and leave off the reasons why you think either character would win in a fight like this. Really curious to see who you guys would think would win in a match between Dooku or Dominator. Two characters that are vastly different, but goddamn, would it be cool to see them fight. Anyway, so once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.